Hey, it's Drew here from MakeMorePlacements.com, where we help recruitment and search owners make more placements for higher fees with less work and fewer headaches. And in this video, I want to talk to you about objections that you get when selling your recruitment services. But before I jump into that, if you're a recruitment or search firm owner and you want to make more placements, you want to increase your revenue, you want to increase your profits, if you head over to MakeMorePlacements.com/apply, there is a very short letter there that explains a bit more about how we might be able to help. So what we do, whether or not it's right for you is a different question, but go to MakeMorePlacements.com/apply, have a quick read. If it's something that suits you, we can talk more about it. If not, then that's fine as well. So that's MakeMorePlacements.com/apply. So back to the main point of this video, objections. You know, if you've ever tried to sell your services or anything else, or if you've got kids, you've probably heard every objection under the sun, right? You know, they come in all shapes and sizes, but you know, some of the more typical ones are you're too expensive, or you know, your fee's too high, or it might be you know, now's not the right time. It might be I need to speak to so and so. It might be you know, your competitors offered to do it for cheaper, which I guess the same as low fee, whatever it is, right? If you've ever sort of been into a pitch, you've probably heard at least one objection. You know, you probably have a few that you get regularly, and a few that are, you know, you just heard once or twice, but you've probably heard reasons that people have given you for not buying your services at all, or not buying on your terms, or not buying in the time frame that you want them to buy, right? Anytime someone doesn't buy, or anytime someone has a need for your services but then doesn't buy, or buy from somebody else, you know, there has been an objection at some point in the process, right? So objections really come in two forms. There's, you know, what I call verbal objections, when they tell you what their objection is, but you also get non-verbal objections as well, where they don't buy, and they either don't tell you what their objection is, so they don't say anything, or they lie about what their objection is. So they say it's the price, but really it's something else, or they say it's a timing issue, but really it's something else. And you know, really, with non-verbal objections, we can never really be sure about what they were and if or not they occurred, right? But you know, basically, if someone doesn't buy your services, there has been an objection, and they have a need. That is, there has been an objection to something you've said, or you know, something about the way you've delivered either the sales presentation, or something about how you've packaged your actual offer that they didn't agree with, or they didn't think was right for them. So one of our clients recently asked a question, how do we overcome objections? And there's two ways to looking at this, right? There's the sort of school of thought where you know, you do your presentation, you wait till you get an objection, you have almost like pre-packaged answers that you give. So if someone says it's too expensive, you say X. If someone says it's not the right time, you say Y. Whatever it is, right? You have these sort of pre-packaged responses to their objections, which can work quite well. For me though, when we work with clients, what we prefer to do is not wait for the objection to come up, because, well, the main reason is, like I said, you do get verbal objections, in which case you can answer them, but sometimes objections are non-verbal. If an objection is non-verbal and they don't verbally tell you what their objection is, if you're using that method, you have no way to answer it, right? Because they haven't raised the point, right? So you don't answer it, you don't make the sale because you haven't overcame their objection. So, you know, there's one way where you have these sort of pre-packaged answers. What I prefer to do, and what we tell our clients to do, is rather than having pre-packaged answers, is to preempt the objections that you might get. So, you know, if you've been doing this even a short amount of time, you've been to a couple sales meetings, you may have been to, you know, 2 to 100, whatever, doesn't matter. You will have common objections, common reasons that people give you not to buy. So the way that we sort of, you know, part of our philosophy when it comes to building a sales process for the recruitment and search firm owners we have, is rather than doing your presentation, waiting for the objections to come up but then answer them, is to preempt what the objections might be and answer them before they happen. And what, you know, how you do that will depend on your service, your fee, what you deliver. But if you really think about it, any objection that you ever get comes down to belief, right? If someone, there's no right or wrong when it comes to what's best for the client, or what's the, whether or not they should buy from you. You're going to obviously have the belief that you think it's right for them. If they're speaking to one of your competitors going to have the same belief. There's all these different scenarios, beliefs that people have. None of them are right or wrong. We can't really know what's right or wrong until after the decision's been made, because, if they buy from you and it works out to be really good, then, they made the right decision. But even then, we don't know if it could have been better buying from somebody else or whatever. So there's no right or wrong when it comes to selling, right, or objections. All there is, what's going on inside their heads, right, what their beliefs are, right? So if you think about it, when someone says you're too expensive or your fee's too high, your fees aren't really too high. The problem is they believe your fees are too high. When someone says, I'm not going to buy from you because you're a smaller firm, or I'm not going to buy from you because you're a bigger firm, there's no right or wrong, what's better or worse. They believe that a smaller firm isn't the right option. It's a belief. If someone says to you they don't want to work on retained, or they don't want to give you an exclusive, they believe that that's the wrong option. They believe that contingency is best. Whatever it is, right? There's no right or wrong. It all comes down to belief patterns. So the best way I think to approach it is to understand what their belief patterns might be, preempt them, and almost try and transform their beliefs before the sales meeting. So, really, when it comes to your sales process, it happens long before. It begins long before the actual pitch, the actual sales presentation. Every sort of communication or exchange the prospect has with you is an opportunity to transform their beliefs, right? So, with our members, with the recruiters we help, we call it stacking the evidence, right? So we want them to have a certain belief at the end of the presentation. Again, there's no right or wrong, there's only sort of beliefs. So in order to transform people's beliefs, we need to stack the evidence, right? If we think of, religion, for example, it doesn't matter what religion you are, if you're non-religious, you should get the concept that the reason people believe in a particular religion is because of evidence, or at least perceived evidence, that they've got, over years. Same's true for Father Christmas. Why do kids believe in Father Christmas? Because, perhaps their parents tell them it's real. That's a type of evidence. Then they get presents in their stocking. That's more evidence. Then, they put a mince pie out and it's gone the next morning. These are all evidence, right? We all know, or we hopefully all know, that Father Christmas isn't real. But with children, because you provide the evidence, it seems real to them. Same with your recruitment services. There's no fee that's too high for recruitment. If the right fee means that you get the best candidate, but in order for the prospect to believe they're going to get the best candidate, you need to stack the evidence before that. That can go for any objection, right? So what we prefer to do is, rather than waiting for the objection to come up and then answering it, is preempt the objection and sort of give them the answer before they've asked. So for example, if you want more retainers in your business rather than working on contingency, and that it almost goes without saying that if you're speaking to a prospect that normally works on contingency and you're trying to sell the idea of retained search, they're probably going to have objections. So they have to pay up front. They probably think that they're not going to get they want to cast the net far and wide, and I think contingency is the way to do that. Again, there's no right or wrong. These are just beliefs that the prospect has. So if you want to work on retain, for example, you want to work on exclusive, part of your sales process needs to involve explaining the difference, stacking the evidence as to why exclusive is better than contingency, or why retained is better than contingency. Or if you want to work on contingency, then of course it's the other way around, right? Why contingency is better than retained. Whatever service that you deliver, whatever terms you want your clients to work under because you think that gets them the best result, we need to demonstrate that from the very first moment we have any contact with that prospect, whether that's on LinkedIn, via email, on the phone, whatever. You stack the evidence before. Marketing and sales is about, and overcoming objections is about transforming people's beliefs. So they believe, we want them to believe without any question of a doubt that buying from you and buying on your terms, or terms that suit you is the best thing for them to get the outcome they want. If we can get them to believe that, then you make the sale, right? So if you want help with that, if you head over to makemoreplacements.com/apply, it's a short letter about how we might be able to help. So if you want to speak to prospects who you go through the sales process and you're able to answer their objections before they happen or before they're verbalized, so you significantly increase your chances of getting them to buy from you, getting them to buy from you on your terms, then go to makemoreplacements.com/apply, a short letter about how we might be able to help.